Welcome to Key Conversations. My name is CJ Norman.
And I'm Katy Norman. We're a husband and wife real estate team, and this podcast is meant to feel like you're listening in on a conversation between friends.
Each week, we share real stories, simple frameworks, and honest advice we'd give our own family. Whether you're thinking of buying, selling, downsizing, or just trying to make smart choices with the home you're living in, we're here to help.
No pressure.
No fluff.
Just clear guidance you can actually use.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Key Conversations. I'm CJ.
And I'm Katy.
And today we're going to be talking about new construction homes. We're going to be talking about who it's for, what it is, and the different types of it. So we're going to go over a lot of the basics. Does that sound good?
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of things that we can really dive into within this topic, but if this is something that you've been considering, this episode is for you because we'll go over, high level stuff. And then in future episodes, we're definitely going to want to dive deeper into this topic.
Yeah, there's a lot we can talk about with this. I mean, the different types of new construction alone can be multi length, podcasts and stuff. So
yeah, I guess on that note, can you tell me a little bit about what are some of the types of new construction that people?
Yeah,
because they're different. There's a lot of variations of brand new homes.
Right. So before that, just to kind of touch on who is a typical buyer for new construction, what we're seeing a lot, at least I am, is a lot of people that are not purchasing a first home. They're purchasing their second or third or whatever, a move-up buyer. Somebody, kind of think of the avatar of a family with little kids, but the little kids are growing up or the family's growing and now they're like, okay, I want a bigger home. I know what school district I want to be in, and I actually kind of want it to be exactly the way I want it. So kind of like that. So we get the move-up buyers, and then a lot of downsizers too. There isn't a surplus of one level living, just in all these neighborhoods. But new construction, with the baby boomer generation being a huge one, they've been starting to retire, and on the older end, they're like, okay, I don't really want to do stairs, and I don't need all the space, that I had at this home for growing a family, and we're looking for one level living. So those are two big ones that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, older homes didn't typically have, main floor, bedroom, bathroom, laundry, everything that you need. But the boomer generation is massive, and so there are a lot of builders building homes for that demographic.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is where you get your slab on grade, and by slab on grade I mean there has no basement, they pour a concrete slab and that's where the home is. So there are a lot of those types of homes being built, and I'm also seeing a lot of homes being built that have main floor bedrooms just in general, even if they do have a basement or an upstairs.
And that hybrid kind of living.
Yep.
Sometimes
absolutely.
those even have a basement too, which is definitely for anyone.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, those really speak to a demographic of people that want their parents to be able to live with them or to come visit when they're aging, things like that.
Yeah, multi-generational living is definitely on the rise, in this country. It's been a thing in other cultures, but, we're seeing a lot more of it now too. So,
yep, absolutely.
Speaking of what you're saying.
So back into the types of different types of new construction. So we've got spec homes, which are essentially just, we've got a floor plan and we build this over and over again and we're not going to deviate from it, and we just put them up rapidly.
Right, think the D.R. Horton, Lennar, they just publicly traded companies, massive companies that just crank these homes out in, everywhere, really, in the whole country. And
yep.
they're kind of, like you're saying, they're just built based on their floor plans. They might have a couple handfuls to choose from, but that's what you're getting.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point, is usually there's several different floor plans that they have within a neighborhood. They don't just have we make this one house and we make it over and over and over again, and it literally looks like the little Monopoly houses.
Yeah, right.
But there's usually slight variations within the homes, and they might have a maple floor plan and then a birch
always a nice
floor,
name too. It's
right.
Very inviting.
And then a birch floor plan, and they're a little bit different, but they have the same general finishes and things like that. So those go up really, really fast.
Very, yeah.
I would say, and actually, before we get into timelines, let's go into like one of the other kinds of new construction homes.
We can, like I was saying, we can go do a whole episode on each of these.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So we've got the spec homes, and then you also have semi-custom homes. So these are kind of the hybrid of in between of like, I'm not like creating every floor plan. There's still floor plans for the house, but I get to choose like the design elements and the finishes and things like that. You can choose, like, usually, now every builder's going to be a little bit different, but usually you might have more choice on paint colors or what your kitchen cabinets are made of or your flooring types throughout the entire home. Do you want hardwoods or do you want carpet, or like what do you want? And obviously that when you make those design changes, that changes the price too.
I always kind of think of semi-custom as like, have you ever bought like a new car, right? And it's not from the dealership on the lot. It's like you talk to them and they're helping you design it. And it's got all these like things you can add, all the bells and whistles. But it's like, okay, it is a Ford Explorer. We're getting a Ford Explorer, right? So like a semi-custom, it's like, okay, well, this is our base model of this house, but tell me what you want in it.
Right.
You know?
Like when we both bought our cars, it's like we could go and we could buy a car right off the lot and we could walk away with it like very quickly.
It's like your spec home, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or we could pick and choose and add the little pieces
What paint do you want?
Yep, that we wanted and make it exactly the way that we wanted. And obviously that came at a premium. So semi-custom. And then there's fully custom. So like if you could just design your dream car however you want to and like it's not a Ford Explorer anymore. It's
like I created this custom collector's car.
Yeah.
You know, to look like something nice, but you know, it's not in production, right?
So a fully custom home is, if you've ever looked on Zillow and seen like a to-be-built house advertised online, sometimes those are fully custom homes. Now, typically the builder that's advertising that to-be-built it usually has a lot or a tear-down house on that property, and then the builder owns the lot, and their goal is to obviously have you buy with them and build a home with them. Now, sometimes they have pre-configured, like they've already got plans for homes and general ideas. But if you want to like start from the ground up, a lot of times they will let you do that. And there are obviously, you know, not every to-be-built is maybe going to be like this, but if you're going full custom, you can, from the ground up, build your house within reason of like whatever your lot allows and whatever the city allows.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And those to-be-built homes that builders put out as listings, you know, like a lot of people, it happens all the time with my clients, you know, they're like, oh, I want to go see this house. It looks great. I'm like, it doesn't exist. You know, it's a to-be-built home. The builder just used pictures and stuff from a similar project or something that is in their wheelhouse to kind of like advertise, like, hey, we could do this or we could do this. Sometimes it's like a few different houses of pictures, like all in one, and people get confused. And I'm like, no, it's essentially glorified marketing for them.
Yep, they're just showing you what could be built
on their lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are really like high level, the different kinds. So you've got very basic spec homes. You've got the semi-custom in between where you get to choose your finishes and things like that. And then you have the like custom homes. And as you can imagine, those have different price points.
And it's weird that we went in a certain order, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like the spec homes, I mean, you could talk to a builder and say, yeah, I want that lot that you're planning to build on. They're already going to build a home there. So, you know, you have your timeline and everything, which we can also get into after price. But sometimes the framing is up, you know, and it's the winter and they're working on the inside now. And it's going to be done in 2 months, like the end of, you know, spring or whatever. And sometimes it's already completed. Nobody has put an offer in. So those spec homes are like real quick, ready to go.
Yep.
But those price points, the price point on a spec home, what are you thinking? Like starting at the 500s?
Yeah.
Maybe location is important too, but like maybe in the upper 4s.
Maybe, and that would really, really depend. You're probably going down in size. You're likely not getting a basement at all if you're in the 4s.
Right. It's like slab on grade, like
Yep.
you were mentioning. Yeah.
Yep. And so the reason that basements add cost is because they have to dig them out. They have to pour concrete into them. There's a lot more work that goes into a basement. So that adds to the price point. So if you
Concrete
want
work is not cheap.
No.
Yeah, just go and hire a contractor and say, I want to redo these like 4 steps, or like, I want to put a pad down so I can put a hot tub. You're going to be shocked at how much that costs. And it's like nothing compared to a basement, right?
Yep. So basements just cost a lot of money. Fun side note, that's why, split level homes, you see a lot of split level homes, and they're usually on the more affordable, like, side of things in comparison to like a 2-story with a basement or things like that. And part of the reason that they built those was because you're only digging half of a basement.
Right.
So they were easier and faster and more affordable to put up when they built them.
Yeah.
So just a fun
No, that is.
side fact. But, we aren't seeing split level homes being built now typically.
Yeah, not as much.
No.
For sure.
But every once in a while you do see like lookout basements versus a walkout basement. Those can drastically change. And that, as a side thing, is very specific to the lot that you're building the house on. So sometimes just the way the land is shaped and like the way the backyard is sloped can drastically change what kind of a basement you can have.
Yeah. And an excavator would be able to say, all right, here's the price differences based on what type of soil this is even. Is this, clay, or is it various other types? But, a lookout versus a traditional basement versus no basement is going to be different depending on the type of soil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of those things make a difference.
So spec homes, we're talking upper 4s, starting at the 500s and up.
That's as of 2026.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this in 2030, don't think that those prices
it's probably
are
going to be
holding
like
true anymore.
$1 million. Yeah. Something weird like that because the dollar collapsed. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, then there's semi-custom homes. So when you're in that semi-custom space and you're picking out all these finishes, one of the things is that they're advertising this price, like starting at the blank.
Yes, just like the car. It's like it starts at $40,000, but why did I pay 75? It's like, oh yeah, bells and whistles.
Yep. So these semi-custom homes, you might see like starting in the high 6s, low 7s, or even, somewhere around there is probably more of a reasonable price point for those to potentially start at on a low end. Now, this is, I would say, very low end. Realistically, when you're adding all these things in of like what you want, here's what happens.
Yeah, okay.
You walk into a house, you see this beautiful model home, and essentially what happens is you're like, oh, this is great. I love this house. And you're like, I can keep it really basic because it's going to be a brand new house.
Famous last words.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then what happens is after you've signed the contract saying that you're going to buy it and you've put money down on the line, then they walk you into a design room. Not like back to back, but like eventually you'll have a design consult, and then you get to pick out all the finishes, and then they start adding on like all of these things to it. So if you want to upgrade your appliances, if you want to upgrade your cabinets, if you want to upgrade your faucets, your door handles, your railing, everything, those things start to tick on.
And there's nothing wrong with doing it too.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
If that's what you want, if you want all the nicest things and you have the budget for it, go for it. Why wouldn't you, right? Especially if you plan to live there for a significant part of your life.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reason that I say this, or the reason that I bring this up, is because it's very important that you don't think that the base number is going to be your end number. It is usually going to be higher. I would budget, I would say at least...
What buffer are we thinking?
I would say at least $20,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, depending on price points, but I'm trying to think in terms of like percentage, like above what your budget in your mind is. Like, what is it typically?
I'd maybe give it like...
10, 20?
Yeah, potentially. Somewhere in that 10 to 20.
Yeah. Depending on how you budget too.
It really drastically depends. Like,
are you like you and have an Excel sheet, or are you like me and have vibes?
yep.
Yeah.
If you have an Excel sheet, you're probably sticking to a budget very
Right.
well. If you have vibes, you're going to struggle with this.
Always over budget.
Yep.
Dang.
But one of the things that obviously we can help with is figuring out like where you should invest the dollars and where it may not be worth it, and what are some of the things that you can do afterwards. So for example, pretty easy to add backsplash to like a little bar area after the fact, but it's really hard to change your cabinets
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Your cabinets are going to stay your cabinets. So if you want to invest some money somewhere,
Right. Like you're
Your
not
kitchen's-
saving money really by adding the backsplash. You might, with the builder, you might actually spend more, but certain things, like I know you had a client one time where they wanted to have a grill with, outside like everyone does, but not having a propane tank, having a gas line. And if you were to do that after the home is built, it's going to be way more expensive than if you were to budget it in like before everything's finished off.
right, substantially more expensive.
Yeah.
And then you're ripping up your brand new house.
Yeah.
And then also something to consider then is you might void some of the builder's warranties if you're digging into portions of the house that they
True. Right.
built.
Yeah. That's another thing to read with
So-
fine tooth comb.
You want to be careful of those kind of things. Anyway, so we got, like we said, we had spec homes, maybe in the 4 to 5s. We've starting in the $400 to $500.
Yeah. Upper 4s, 5s as a starting point. Then we have your semi-customs, which is like, I know you said you can get it in the 7s, but we're talking like 8. I think like 8 to 1.2 is pretty common in our area. And then
Everything out the door.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
full cost.
Right.
They're going to advertise that they start lower.
Oh, for sure. But this is like real talk,
Yes.
And then we have custom homes, which that could be anything, really. I mean, it has a starting point, for sure. What would you say the starting point in that is?
I mean, you're definitely not building a custom home for under 8.
No.
Absolutely not. And even at that point, you're probably going with a plan, like you're probably ending up a little bit more on the semi-custom route because
Probably.
you're not starting your plans from scratch. You're using a plan that the builder already has. Realistically, you're in the 1 to 1.2 minimum range.
Yeah.
And then going up from there, depending on what you want.
2 things pop into my mind when I think of custom. One is every time I'm driving south on like the shoreline, on the west side of Lake Minnetonka, there is this, it's on a busy road, but it's a beautiful, tighter lot. It's not like, it's on the lake, right? And it's got the sunset facing views and everything, but it's just a lot. It says for sale. And then it has this builder with like this house that they built, advertising. It's like, that isn't going to be cheap. Right? That's going to be like completely custom. It's got to fit into this appropriate sized, tighter lot. Right? So I think that. And then also, we have a client that is under contract for a home that has a lighthouse. That's awesome. Right? But you're not going to find that in the semi-custom, and you're not going to find that in the spec homes.
Right. So, yeah, there's just a lot of different things to consider. Obviously, price point is huge. I think that one of the things that I hear from our clients when they come and they're saying like, hey, I want to build something, they just have no idea what's even realistic. So I think that, hopefully, obviously, this is a good starting point for them on what is realistic. Some timing aspects, a spec home can be done in like 4 months even.
Yeah.
They can go really fast.
Especially if it's like warm weather, there's no frozen soil or anything like that, yeah.
Semi-custom, if you were to buy one and like if you were to go and pick out the house, pick out all your custom finishes and pick out the lot, if you were to do that, now you're probably looking around a September move-in. Mm-hmm. So, or give or take a month or 2. So that goes pretty quickly. And then custom, you're probably looking, realistically not less than 8 to 9 months.
That depends on you too.
It absolutely
Right, if you're-
drastically depends on you.
If you're getting analysis paralysis at every meeting, then we can't even start yet. I mean, it's fine to do that, but it's just like that is partially on you too as the buyer.
Every time you change your mind about,
Yeah.
I want this instead of this, that can delay things and totally throw a wrench and stuff. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're going through that. But just so you have general idea. If you wanted to be, in a house by next Christmas, now is the time to start talking about those kind of things if this is the route that you want to go. And then realistically, like, just like everything, it's like having a great plan is really important to help with the success of this.
And so some of the things that come with new construction are even, the single family homes. When you think of associations, you think of condos, you think of townhomes, and you think of, I don't want to pay that or whatever. With new construction, a lot of times there is an association that, has to be paid, but it's nothing like condos and townhomes.
Right.
And it doesn't cover the same things that those do either. So it's not like somebody's going to be, shoveling your sidewalk in your driveway and mowing your lawn. It's like, no, those are all on you, but maybe there's a clubhouse that everyone has access to. Maybe there's not. Maybe they just have a beautiful sign that says Stonebridge neighborhood, and they just maintain the light bulbs that shine on it. And it's like, okay,
maybe
we pay
throw Christmas lights up.
We pay like $300 a year for that, whatever. So.
Yeah. Usually these associations have some sort of rules or regulations around them and how you're supposed to use your home, so they can control things like what kind of fence you put in.
That's the biggest one. People always want to know, do I have to get that black metal short, not privacy fence?
And sometimes the answer is yes.
Yeah, usually if all the neighbors do, you look in the documents and you're like, oh, yeah.
Which unfortunately would not work for our dogs because they would sneak out of it or
right
jump over it or, and it would, so like we couldn't do that.
No.
We'd have to, I don't know what we would do.
Yeah, no. It just wouldn't work.
It just doesn't work.
No.
But not every association is like that. Obviously, some of them have pools.
Yeah, like my sister, your sister-in-law, they have a suite association. I don't think it's like that expensive either, but they have this whole like community center. They have indoor pool, outdoor pool, hot tub. Yeah, well, why not? That's awesome. But you don't need that, even if you have an association at some of these places.
My dad lives in a community that has 3 pools within the neighborhood, which is really fun.
And this is usually like your spec home too.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. I mean, semi-customs will fall into this too.
True.
When you're getting into the custom, you can pick your lot wherever your heart desires. So
you
that's
could have a lot that you just sat on for the last 10 years and you talk to a builder and say, I want to build a house now.
Right. So that's when you're falling outside. Like you're not falling into an association with a custom home typically.
No.
That would be pretty rare. Something to think about with spec and semi-custom is that you're going to get less nature around you. Like the neighborhood isn't going to be as mature with trees and things like that and greenery because they essentially go in and they just like level the whole thing and then grade the lots the way that they need them to be, pave the roads throughout them. So, it's like there's nothing in them. But 20 years from, they'll plant a tree at like every property.
Yeah, right.
And 20 years from now,
Looks
it'll
like
be
twigs right now. But
it'll be great.
Yeah.
I know you were talking about, when we were talking about this topic, you mentioned your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, where I grew up in a suburb called Naperville, which is like 30 miles west of Chicago. There's not a lot of greenery, typically in the Chicagoland area. But when I grew up, my folks still have the same house. But growing up, there was this, tree in the parkway out by the driveway. And it was like, I don't know, that thick for like my childhood. And every time I go back to visit for holidays or otherwise, it's like, what is this? And then all the trees in the neighborhood are just like on both sides of the street, like the canopies are all blending together. I'm like, this is pretty cool, But that house was built in like 91, I want to say. So the tree was probably planted then. So it took a while. That's actually not that many years. So.
Feeling like you're aging yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean, similarly, like with my dad and his neighborhood, they were sitting out on their back deck and they've got these big, beautiful trees outside, but they planted those when they bought the house 20 years ago.
Next generation to benefit
which
that.
Is wild. And it's kind of funny to think that, like, the neighborhood had nothing in it, basically. So, anyways, obviously, if you're going custom, you get to build your house wherever you want it, in whatever kind of lot you want it. So this is where you find homes on, 1 to 5 acres, with a little bit more privacy, and you get to build them wherever you get to build them essentially wherever you want.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah. So
We're not going to talk about air rights, though. That was not. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Yeah. Warranties, too. We could touch on that.
Yeah. One of the great things about buying new construction is it comes with warranties.
Just like anything that's significantly expensive that you're purchasing, you're usually going to get a warranty. So with new construction, it's, kind of the same deal. And it's just commonplace that all these builders have some sort of a warranty. 1 year is common, 2 years, and other things like the workmanship itself being a year is pretty common for like your utilities, plumbing, electric, all that stuff. It could be a little longer, like 2 years.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
And then you have a 10-year structural warranty.
Yep.
So anything major structural that is a problem with your house, the builder will fix within 10 years.
And they're really good about it, just across the board. Builders, I mean, we've bought new construction in the last couple of years. And, you reach out to the builder and just say like, hey, there's some settling happening already, where the wall meets the ceiling and I'm seeing cracks. Like, he's like, yeah, I'll be there next week. It's like, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, most of these like spec homes and semi-custom homes, they have like a ironed out process on how they deal with warranties, and especially the workmanship ones that last a year, because they'll come back at about 10 to 11 months and go through the house with you again to see like, okay, what do we need to fix for you? Because chances are like your house, like as it goes through seasons, will like it'll just not settle, but it'll like move a little bit through the different seasons, because you've got the heat of the Minnesota summers and then the cold. Yep. Yeah. So usually it's pretty normal for like little cracking and things to happen in some select places. Obviously, if it was a structural thing, they would fix that.
Right.
But they'll go through and say like, okay, we're going to come back and like if a little nail pops out because of the expansion and contraction of the seasons, they'll come in, they'll fix that and patch it, and then they'll repaint over it.
Minnesota's pretty crazy too. You could be wearing a jacket and just like cold one day, and then be like the next day it's sunny and 75.
Yep, and apparently
T-shirt.
Trees explode.
That's nuts. I saw some on YouTube in Wisconsin. Some guy was like chopping wood.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That was wild. That's scary. Jeez. Okay. Go look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's chopping wood, and in the background, there's just like it sounds like a gunshot.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And you see particles of the tree.
Yeah, just falls.
Flying.
I'm like, wow.
It's wild. Anyways.
Yeah. We digress.
Absolutely. One of the other things that I think is really important is, obviously, we think that it's highly important to use a realtor. I think that some people think that you should. Builders make it so easy for you to, especially with the spec and semi-custom homes, to just walk into these and be like, ooh, I love this. I want to buy it. And they're open a lot more frequently, so it's kind of like an open house at all times. And so you can go walk in, and then they've got somebody there to answer all your questions. And a lot of times people probably think that realtor is helping them.
No, it's essentially like walking into an open house and talking to the listing agent who has the seller's interests at heart, not yours. Like, they want to sell the house at any cost, right? And they'll work with you, but they're not going to be looking out for your interests more than they are the seller. It's the exact same thing.
Yep. Actually, if you go back to the car analogy, which I think is kind of cool, like the car salesman is at, like, he's got the car, like,
he's
the
not looking out.
dealership in his best, he's got the commission that he's going to get from it and the dealership's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
But we actually know somebody that's like a car advocate buyer.
I know.
So he helps you get the best deal, and he negotiates and usually saves people.
Yeah, it's like not even
money.
an industry, but he created that industry. It's like awesome.
Just because he knows how they work on the back end. So he's kind of like your representation for car buying, which is really cool. Just like we're your representation for buying any home, but in this specific example, new construction. Yeah,
and people are, a common thing people think is like, well, if I go straight to the builder, I don't know, they're going to give me a better deal. It's like, no, these builders are huge, and a lot of them are publicly traded companies. They go off of, spreadsheets. They don't go off of vibes. They don't expect everyone to walk in without an agent. Most people do have an agent. So they say, to satisfy our shareholders, we need to budget that in. So our commission is already budgeted in with what price a buyer's going to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we do for you that people don't really realize is, one, new construction can be a little bit more challenging to find than your typical, like, just house that you see on Zillow.
Right.
So it can be a little bit harder to find. Sometimes it's not super clear. Like, maybe they make the maple model in Apple Valley, but you don't know that you can also buy that model in Maple Grove.
Or maybe you don't want that builder and model, and you just want a location, and you want to see all the options of all the builders.
Right.
That's something we can easily help with.
Yep. So our job is to help you, like, weed through everything to make sure that you're buying with the best builder and best location and lot for you.
And then I just want to say the number one thing that we get paid for is to protect your interests, right? Our representation is protecting you.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll do, whether it's buying a pre-existing home or a new build. Outside of the guidance, which is all super helpful to have, yeah, your protection when you're signing away the biggest asset purchase you're likely going to make, you want to know that you're protected.
Yep. And every builder's, like, when you buy new construction, every builder has a different contract. So we help you review those and make sure that there aren't big red flags. We're asking questions that you probably wouldn't know to ask. And then we're negotiating, whatever we can for you. And there's really strategic times in this process that you want to negotiate things and when you cannot anymore. So that's super important. And then we're also advising you on, should you do A or B? Like I said before, where should you invest the dollars? All those kind of things. So, yeah, I think that that's super important, very helpful. We're also advising you on things that you may not be thinking about, like should you put in a gas line or adding the electric car charger ahead of time,
Right.
or adding more lights in specific areas or more outlets in specific areas, because we've done this with enough people that we know what they wish they would have done.
We know how to coach you into thinking about these things too, asking the right questions so that your brain is thinking 5 steps ahead of where you're currently thinking and overwhelmed and excited.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. So helping keep things on track, helping you make decisions, helping advocate for you and protect your interests. That's really what it is that we're doing for you. New construction, obviously we mentioned this a little bit about who it's for, like the downsizers looking for one level living, like boomer, not necessarily a boomer, but just traditionally tends to be that generation right now. Millennials are a typical,
Move up buyer.
typical move-up buyer, starting families, things like that. So that falls into that category. I think one thing that both of those have in common that new construction is really great for is you've got those warranties. So you're going to have less home maintenance on your home. And likely and hopefully the goal is that the next 10 years, you don't really have anything you need to do on your home.
Very light stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's huge for this demographic that's in the thick of it, raising kids or
home affordability is just unattainable, and
or just at a
you can't
point
budget for things to go wrong in the home.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
just at a point where it's I don't want the extra work that's associated with maintaining a house. I've done this for 50
Yeah.
years now. I just wanna let it all be. So those two things, or that one thing is really important for both of those demographics.
Agreed.
But yeah, so I don't know, anything else that you want to add?
No, I think that was a good snippet of new construction 101.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we hope you found this helpful. If you're thinking about new construction or have questions about new construction,
Give us a call.
Absolutely give us a call. We have a guide.
Oh yeah,
The
right.
new construction home buying process. We'll link that and put that somewhere where you can
Easily
find
find
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But as always, you can always reach out to us with anything. And if you have any questions, we'd love to know. Leave us a comment or shoot us a message, and we'd love to chat with you.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this episode, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next time.
If you enjoyed today's episode, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
We'd love it if you'd share this with someone who'd be interested. And don't hesitate to reach out if you want to connect. We're always happy to chat. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.